This is Coach Josh, and we're here at Training for Warriors Portland. We're inside the dojo. We're in the command center, and I've got one of my favorite warriors in the dojo here. This is Adinah Barlow, and for those of you who actually work out with us, you probably have seen Adinah either in our private group talking about stuff. If you're Facebook friends with her, she's got a very active presence. If you've been training with me for any length of time, I've probably brought her up as a person that you need to see, because Adinah is, aside from just being a great person and a strong warrior, she's got healing hands. So she is a really talented massage therapist that I've been working together with for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, something to that effect. Yeah. And we've been getting consistent body work on me, and I feel like a finely tuned machine. And I'm really excited to get into this a little bit, but there's a lot about Adinah that you probably don't know if you haven't got the chance to sit down with her and talk. So we're going to talk a little bit about her and her warrior journey, and how she's discovered herself and her personal power, both physically and financially, and in her practice with her body work. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us, Adinah.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, so for those people who don't know about you, give us the rundown. Where are you from? What do you do? How'd you get here?
Well, so I'm originally from Utah, and moved to Portland about 8 years ago, and found Josh through another trainer that I trained with for like a month. And met Josh at a meetup, and I think it was a couple months later he came and was like, "Hey, let's train. Why don't you come in and check out the gym?" And at that point I was just kind of like, gyms, I don't like them.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
My experience hasn't been the greatest. But I was like, all right, cool. So went in and was very impressed right away with Josh's just like sense of the body and what it does. And of course, like, I'm always thinking about the body and how it works, and how, like, there's pain here, but why, what's actually going on. And Josh was able to really like meet me on that level, where we talked about the mobility of my shoulders or hip pain I was having, and how much range of motion I had. And so like that was a real thing that I gained confidence in Josh right away, was that he knew his stuff. And so I had a lot of respect for that. And then just slowly starting to work with you, Josh, like I felt challenged in the right ways, and I started to notice a difference in my body, and it just became a good thing. And I think the biggest thing was that I developed trust with Josh, not only in his ability to do what he was there to do, coach me and help my body get strength and flexibility and stability without hurting myself, but also in you as a person, Josh. You're like just great to interact with.
Yeah, I'm all right. That's what my fiance would say. So, well, how did you first get into massage therapy? Because you've been practicing for a while, and
yes,
and you're pretty passionate about it, and
yeah,
you've got a great body of work. So, what brought you to being a massage therapist?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, so my mom says that even as a baby I was always touching people.
I can see it.
And I was just always fascinated with bodies and touch, and I was fascinated by the way that touch, like how it makes us feel, and what's what the benefit is from that, and what the damage is when touch isn't good, So that just fascinated me. It intrigued me, and when I was like 6 or 7 years old, my mom fell off of. She was thrown from a horse and really damaged her spine and her back, and she basically like couldn't play with us anymore, and that was kind of devastating. And so I saw her go to like chiropractors and massage therapists, and it helped. And so it intrigued me a little more. Gosh, but I just like was always fascinated with the body. I love bodies. Bodies are cool.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're durable and they're really amazing.
Right, and it's like they're a puzzle. You know, like why do they do what they do? I don't know. So, gosh, even in high school, I was like, nope, this is what I want to do, and I would take all the classes that have anything to do with bodies and body work, and but it took me, after graduating, it took me a few years to finally decide, like, nope, I'm gonna do massage. I'm gonna go into it, and gosh, once I took the schooling, I went to a more sports-oriented school, and it's just like mind blown. It's really cool.
And you say mind blown, so tell me about some of the things that you learned or you were surprised with, or some of the things that really got the gears turning for you. Because you've had several good, I think, epiphanies and turning points in your life. So what was your first big one when you were at school?
I mean, well, really, that massage can make such an impact on people. That connecting with our bodies, and somebody else connecting with our bodies can make such an impact in many ways. You know, in like helping us feel safe in our body. Like, you know, going to school, I just learned to trust other people to touch me, and that that it's like a great, safe, healing thing in this environment, and also getting in touch with my body, feeling comfortable in my skin was fascinating, and so providing that for others. So that's a part of it, and then a part of it was like the mechanics, just like, well, this joint does these things, and this is why, and when it doesn't, then there's a puzzle to figure out, like, why isn't it working properly?
Okay. So you got a sense of when you were in what was the name of the school?
Myotherapy College.
Myotherapy College. That you could do from the outside, just with your intervention with your hands, you could have a profound impact, and that it would, you said something it was safe and touch could be healing in this context. So you knew that there was a physical and a psychological benefit for the person getting the treatment, and there was an element of problem solving too in there. We have to, so here's the smoke, but here's the fire, and
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. And you were great about that too. Like dissecting the whole problem and getting into it, and taking that time, which is sort of everything. That extra care, not just giving somebody a massage, but giving somebody that therapeutic effect that they're looking for, which is why people come to you. So that's so you start to get the gears turning in college, and then or at the
Myotherapy College.
Myotherapy College, and where was it at? Utah.
Salt Lake City.
Cool. Okay. And then, so how do you get to being a massage therapist here in Portland, Oregon?
Oh, that was easy. There are so many people here that love massage, and that prioritize it.
How did you come to Portland? So you're in Utah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, some friends and I decided we don't want to live in Utah. We lived together in Utah, and we were like, we want to live somewhere else. And Salt Lake is kind of in the winter. It's very smoggy. It's smoky. It's the air quality is very poor.
Sure.
And we love to ski. Like, we were ski bums up there, kind of. But I love the ocean, and so when we decided on a place to move, it was like, oh, cool, Portland is great because we've got the mountain right there, an hour away, and we've got the ocean like an hour and a half away. And some other friends had moved out previously. We came and visited, and got a feel for the culture here, and loved it. And the scenery, the trees, the water, everything.
So that's about, you got the valleys, the mountains, the rivers, the ocean.
The trees.
Yeah.
Did I mention the trees?
So it's the trees. Dinah likes to climb trees.
I love to climb trees.
We'll get into that in a second. So you move here, you open up a practice. So you were independent immediately?
No, I worked for a chiropractor for 4 months until I had a practice that could sustain me.
Awesome. And then, so that's still not very long. That's pretty much just bing, bang, boom.
Yeah. I'm proud of it, actually.
Well, you should be. I mean, it's a tough start, as you know, but the being your own boss and being able to set your own culture.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Being able to set the culture, being able to bring my values into the work and really into the world through my work is what it's all about to me. It's like, why else are we doing business? Yeah, I do need to pay my rent and eat food and those sort of things, but I could do those and, you know, work for somebody else. But I think I would have less joy, much less joy, and less freedom. And so, yeah, I guess being able to impact the world through what I do and with my hands is just, it's wonderful.
Well, you've already said it quite a bit, and I want to talk to you about another piece that a lot of people might not know, but you're a big movement explorer, and so
Yeah.
you've done a lot of, for whether I remember talking to you one time, and you just happened to say like, yeah, I just got back from capoeira, and then my buddy's teaching me wrestling. I'm like, oh, she's some kind of martial artist, and then she's climbing trees, and then she's doing parkour, and then the spinning the poi or fire
Fire spinning, yeah.
fire spinning, and I'm just like
Contact improv dance.
Naturally, because who doesn't try that? You know,
You know.
that's an important thing to get in your life. You got to have time for that.
Yep.
And I think that we're leaving out some, but that's okay. But the process of when did you start becoming this physical explorer?
Oh gosh. I mean, so I really enjoyed that to a degree when I was even a kid. I love to hike. I love to be outside. I love to move my body. There's a sense of freedom I get from it and peace. And in Utah, I would hike around, but it wasn't a whole lot. So I think it was when I moved out here and started hiking around these places, and then was introduced to different communities like the dance community and capoeira, like parkour, like all this stuff is just like, well, and really like coming to the gym, I would say was a big part of that, like starting to get even more comfortable in my body, and feeling stable. Like I feel like the stability that I gained here working with you helped bring more opportunity to do all these other things that I really wanted to do.
And then Adinah too, you when you're talking about stable, I mean a lot of people don't know that you've done all this climbing, you lift weights with me, a little martial arts, a little what have you, tumbling, whatever it is, and you also practice. You see 4 to 5 patients a day at your office, and so you do all these physical demands. And a lot of people don't know that while you're doing this stuff, you also will have a shoulder injury, or you'll have an acute something that will flare up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you don't go to work and do and massage, and then you don't miss a lot of training either. And so how do you, when you have something going on in your body, because you're the expert, what goes through your mind, and what's your process for that, or how do you treat yourself?
Well, and let's just be clear that I have had injuries that put me out. Where I had to stop work for 3 weeks, or like snowboarding injury, sort of thing, or wrist injuries that I had to stop for, like
big stuff,
bigger stuff, But I would say, like, for the little pains, one thing about getting really in touch with my body is that when I do have pains, I notice them right away, and this is I would say this is good, because then I'm committed to taking care of them right away, and so that's part of the process. Is like, as long as I know that like I have my support set up as well. So I've got a massage scheduled, I've got acupuncture scheduled. So it's like I've got this pain happening. I can adjust my body to where I can do what I need to do still without too much pain. And I know that I have the plan set up to fix it, to take care of it. And without that plan in place, I think I would have a really hard time continuing, and especially helping other people. Like if I'm not helping me either.
You're talking about though actually having this stuff set up when you're not injured, because you're talking about preventative.
Well, so both. I have it set up when I'm not injured, like every month or 2 weeks I get a massage. And then, you know, I work out at the gym, of course, like now 5 days a week. About 4 to 5.
Sure.
And then if I get injured, I also schedule, like, in addition, extra stuff. And as long as I know, like, I don't know, there's something about, like, feeling confident that I'm taking care of myself, so then I can give to other people, and it's okay, even if I have a little bit of discomfort with it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you're, there's so many, you've already said so many important things, but like having something scheduled before you get injured, so like being in the habit, going to the gym, being on top of it and trying to run prevention.
Yes.
And then when something happens, responding in accordance and not ignoring it, and not training through it, but also just like, okay, so maybe I get my body work done every month, but now we're going to switch over to acupuncture, maybe we'll get an evaluation here, maybe we'll see what's going on. And so it's taking it seriously, but it's also not waiting until it's already on fire.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's the prevention, and it's the putting out the fire when there is a fire. You know?
Right.
And it is like modifying how I work out, which you've been so great in helping me. Like, you know, if that particular lift just doesn't look like it's treating you well right now.
Yeah, PR yesterday and the day before. You don't need one today too. Can we just?
With an injury.
Maybe we could just. Yeah, exactly. Maybe with the one arm. Maybe just with the one arm and leave it in the cast, and we just do the other arm today. Just for it's. I got my work cut out for me for sure. For sure.
You do. I mean, you help me honor my limits. I try and honor my limits, but you help me.
It's one of the things too that I love about what you're saying about all this physical stuff that you do is a sense of curiosity that comes from a place of confidence, because you're saying like, I feel safe, I feel strong, I feel stable, so I'm going to do all these other things.
Yes.
And you can be confident in these different areas where in the past you hadn't been as confident.
Right.
And
in the past I injured myself more. Because, I didn't have the strength and stability I needed to do the things I wanted to do.
Well, yeah, and of course I know you're not going to like let it go and not do it. You're just going to get hurt doing it. Right. Of course. Where do you think that sense of, so you said you're a playful child, that curiosity. What, because that's something that I think is so important for me and for anybody who wants to be successful in life and in their body. But how do you cultivate that, or did you have to cultivate that at all? Or tell me about like is there anything that ever comes up for you like, oh yeah, I should really try this, or do you just automatically do it without thinking too much?
Oh gosh, that's a good and kind of difficult question. I've always been very curious and playful. And I feel like the more I take care of myself, and the more I take care of myself, the more that comes out, I guess. And so, and the more confident I feel, I guess, the more that comes out. Like, I look at a thing like parkour or like the sear wheel. I want to try playing with the sear wheel, and I look at it and go, I think I can do that. I could try at least and see what happens. But I think that does come from a place of like, joy, just wanting to explore, and when I do stuff like that, when I try new things, I feel a sense of joy, and so it kind of like, it's this positive feedback loop, and then especially if I can do it and not get injured and feel confident, it's more positive feedback loop, and so I will try even more, and so I might, I see somebody doing something, and I'm like, wow, what if I could do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joy. I like it.
Yeah.
And having that like you said, positive feedback loop, and it's like, okay, cool, I get to try this, it feels good, I'm gonna try more and do it. Is there anything that ever interrupts your curiosity?
Yes. I mean, if I get stuck in like a cycle of depression, or if I find myself constantly doing things that are just work. I mean, when I say just work, I mean like the grind of like insurance billing or accounting, or things that aren't like super fun, but that need to be done. Like you mentioned before, we've got to do the things that are difficult in order to have an easier life. And if I do too much of the things that are difficult and hold myself to the grindstone too long, I just start to get like this more of a negative loop. Or, gosh, it's like there's two parts of me. There's like this part that needs to be responsible adult and that is driven to be successful financially and be, present myself in the world of my profession and keep up with, the daily grind, paying taxes and like all the things that we adults have to do. And then there's this other part that really just wants to play, wants to sing, wants to dance, wants to climb trees, and wants to like lay out under the stars, So if I'm ignoring this and just doing the grind, it's a negative feedback loop, and I start to lose some of that joy. Like the light starts to dim, and sometimes it takes a while. In the past, it has taken a while to recognize that and go like, oh, I haven't been outside in like 2 weeks. I haven't gone and played. I haven't gone to dance for a month. That is part of my self-care. That really taking care of that piece of myself that wants more than just the daily grind.
Yeah. Well, and there's a book called The Spark Joy Method, and it's a minimalist method. You have nothing in your home that when you pick it up, it doesn't spark joy.
Yep, I've read that.
And I thought it was such an elegant solution, and I think that if you can, but it's a dichotomy. You have to have the discipline to do the things that are not fun, and then, like you said, you get to enjoy the things that are fun.
Right.
But it's like that spark joy method of like trying to put enough stuff in your life that immediately sparks joy in the activity. I don't like the financial part of the business. I don't have as much fun with it. I get stressed out. Mm-hmm. But I love the people, and it's like, gosh, if I could just roll through and coach 4 to 6 hours a day,
right.
And then maybe spend a couple hours on the things I don't like as much, but continually going through my life and trying to, because you can't just have the fun part.
Right.
If you just had the fun part, you would, your teeth would rot out, you would never go to bed, you would die. Yeah, you'd have diabetes and all the cake and or ice cream for me, but
whiskey.
That's right.
All the whiskey.
All the whiskey, getting after it. You gotta loosen up. And so there's that, and we have them both. And like I said, I kind of like the light gets dim if you just choke the hard stuff down.
And forget about it. And if I forget about that, that piece. And I see that unfortunately with a lot of people, is it seems like there's such a drive to like achieve things and a forgetfulness of taking care of ourselves. And part of taking care of ourselves is like, what makes us happy? And I mean, really, one of the things I most appreciate about the concept you've introduced to me is we've got to do the hard things in order to make life easier. And if we just do the easy things, it makes life harder. And again, paying quarterly taxes, brushing and flossing my teeth. It's helped me really see the perspective that, hey, I can have both. I can be a responsible adult who loves to climb trees,
Right. Yep. Oh yeah. And that person's more fun,
Yeah.
And you need that. And I think a responsible adult needs to climb trees or, drink whiskey or whatever. I was listening to Rob Wolf talk about Rob Wolf. For those of you who are not nutrition nerds, Rob Wolf kind of created the paleo craze. I won't say created.
Okay.
But you could call him the grandfather of the paleo movement. And I was listening to him talk, and he was talking about people in their what's our cheat food? What's on the cheat list? And he talked about how cheat implies you're letting the tribe down when you do this.
Yeah.
No, you need to drink the whiskey. You can have a cookie. But it's like if you're on plan, you're focusing on the actual plan, and you get little drippings of fun, across it. But it's not cheating. That's part of the plan too. You gotta have that good stuff in there.
I should think about this more with nutrition and with my diet plan.
I know. We're loosening the grip.
We're loosening the grip.
The iron grip on the deadlift has been transitioned to the iron grip on the food. It's okay though. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Another 4 years.
Yeah.
But that's important for balance. But you were just talking about the movement piece and discipline, and there's got to be a balance. And I'm listening for myself because a lot of times I'm so focused on the problems of my life. I'm pushing away. I'm like, I'll get to that later. I'll get to the fun part later.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon, we're 60 or we're 70 or we've.
Yeah. So there was a point in my life where I decided, if I wait until conditions are right to do these things that my heart is really pulling me to do, it's probably not going to happen. So like the first time I traveled outside of the country, I was terrified. I didn't think I had the money. I didn't think I had the time. I thought if I left, things would fall apart. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. And so I just booked the flight. I was going out with some friends to help do a volunteer project. So that was enough to kind of like make me feel good enough about the trip that it wasn't just about me. So I could justify it. But I did it. And and I feel the same way now, like deciding to play with a steer wheel and build a steer wheel and with the help of a friend and just do it. It's like the conditions aren't right. I don't know where the time's going to come from. Probably, certainly I'm going to need to take something else out of my life, or maybe something will fall away.
Yeah.
But I can't just wait until the conditions are right to do those positive things. And I think the same goes for moving forward in my career, in business. It's like I can't just wait until conditions are right to take that next step. And so it goes for both things.
Absolutely right. Well, I just had a great conversation with Aziz, one of our early morning warriors, and we're talking about how there is a little bit of a pain associated with testing your limits, and discomfort, and thinking everything's going to fall apart,
right.
And just being afraid. Like he talked about when he was learning how to deadlift, and he had this mindset of where you can't use your back. It's weak. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm weak. And like every step of the way, he was like, "Is this really what we're supposed to do? Like, is this gonna be okay?" And like
that's like me in pull-ups. Like, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, but he had some hand holding, and then he's just started doing the movements, and it was fine. And then he built up trust. And then yesterday he pulled 225, and he was just like, yeah, it was good. I could have done a little bit more, but I'm gonna leave it there. And just like so nonchalantly, but having this like huge mindset shift on like what his capacity is.
And that's where I think like our sort of career is very important. It's like we hold the hands. Like you hold the hand of somebody coming here to learn how to strengthen and stabilize their body and do the things that they might not know how to do or that they can do. And I kind of do the same with my patients, where it's like, in a way, I'm holding their hand to find more comfort in their body. Like maybe they're in a lot of pain and they don't know what to do about it. And some people have kind of resigned themselves to be in pain forever. And to hold their hand in a way and like support them to feeling better, and then helping them understand they have control of their body. They can do things to prevent injury, or, to prevent pain. And and I think that's why like working together with our work is such a beautiful complement.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like people need that.
Yeah. People do. Yeah, they definitely do.
I need that.
Well, it's just people are escorting you. We all need to be escorted to our personal limits, and a lot of the times like we draw this line where we believe what we're capable of,
right.
And everybody else but us can see that it's not there, and we just need somebody to walk us a few steps past. And once you walk across the line, you start to understand there is no line. Like then you feel more confident, and you have that curiosity become exposed.
Yeah. Mind blown.
So you tell us about your practice, because when I met you, you were a massage therapist who was very talented and wanted to put together a place that had a special kind of focus, and you come a long way in the last few years, and what does that entail? Tell me little bit about how your practice has evolved and where you're at, because you're working out 5 days a week. You're throwing fire and climbing trees and dancing and traveling, and you also have you work and you have a business. So.
Yeah. I mean, so like the journey with the business is learning stuff like accounting, and gosh, it's like baby steps into more adulting, I guess.
Sure. More structure, more change.
More change, more structure. I mean, so at first, when I was just working for myself, there was a lot of things I could let go. Like, I mean, it's my practice. Nobody I have to report to, nobody who's relying on me besides my patients. So as long as I show up for my patients and pay my taxes, I'm good, And so I would do things like wait till the end of the year to do any accounting, or like I don't know. I guess I didn't have a great structure for myself in my business at first.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to grow into more than just myself, but invite other people to work on my team. And it's a lot of learning that the little things are important, like doing the accounting every month instead of once a year, or budgeting, or doing spreadsheets for where I am financially. Having a plan, having goals, and having those clearly set out and understood by myself and by the team. And yeah, it's just
like the difference. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to exist. And
it does have to exist.
And
not just in my brain.
Right. And you can have a plan that's simple, like win. All right, be strong. That could be the plan, but you got to have a blueprint on how to get there.
And what it really looks like. Like
what does it mean when you win? Yeah.
Yeah. What does that really look like? Or I want to put together the wellness center. But what does that mean? Like, how many members are going to be on a team? What size of building? Where is it going to be located? What values are we going to bring? Like that sort of stuff is something that I've really come to need to understand. And slowly I'm starting to understand it, and actually watching you and how you've created that, and you continue to create it, because it's like you're not there by any means, and you are I feel like I still look to you for inspiration in a lot of those things, because I see it happening. I see the culture of what you want to bring into the world slowly unfolding in the dojo here. Mm-hmm. And you tell me your process, and you share with me your numbers sometimes, and you ask me questions about so how many more clients do you need to reach that goal you had? I'm like, ooh, that's a great question, Josh.
Yeah, when you start to get, and it's easy to have. I think that the difficult thing is to be, we kind of intuitively know when things are going well and when they're not going well, and but what we find when you scale past yourself is when I'm working next to other people, I'm like that's not what was supposed to happen, but no one noticed it, because we don't have a what's supposed to happen. We just have what happens.
Right.
And
no plans.
Yeah, but when you start to voice it, we start to write it down. It's also there's no judgment. We're working on so many things. I have so many goals for the dojo and how I want the new stuff to get, and the new policies, and the way that I want everybody to get new skills and grow, and it's so great. And but then when you write it out, it's there's no judgment. It's easy to look at your numbers or look at where you're at and go, oh, that's not good.
Right.
But the reality is, it isn't good or bad. It's just where you're at, and it's a punch to the gut sometimes when that makes your life harder. But we're not afraid of work. We're not afraid of doing difficult things and meeting the stuff head on. But
but sometimes it is difficult. Like tracking my meal plans. That has been difficult. I don't know why, but it's been difficult. So some things are harder, and I think the important piece is it's okay. Patience, compassion, compassion to myself, compassion for patience, I guess, for the process, and having compassion for each other. So when you show compassion for me when I'm struggling. And likewise, it's I'm easier able to do that for myself And I think that's also part of, like, surrounding ourselves with people that are like-minded, that share similar values, and working together. It's so beneficial.
Oh, it's huge. You learn so much, like you said, the way that somebody else can approach a situation, like, oh, I can do that too. Or like, oh wow, that was a very patient, methodical question. I wonder if I could ask that question of myself and slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of my favorite people, Luca Hochivar, is one of my business mentors, and he says, like, if you just like reflect, like your clients, they know what to do for their health. They know they need to eat broccoli, do deadlifts, get up early, sprint. They know that. They know that. But he's like, what do you know that you're not doing? He's like, what you know about your business and what you do about your business are two different things. And he's like, if you're doing 35% and your business is still open, that's pretty good. It's like start using 40% of your tools, 50% of your tools, 60%. Be 70% consistent. Be 80% consistent. Be 90%. And then when you get to that place where you're using every lever, you're doing all the things, then go out to get to the next course. Then call me. It's like, don't call me if you're like listen, I know you didn't do that thing you were supposed to do last week. Just do that. Just do that. But it's like that consistency that you have with your training nutrition, and I like your journey so much because you started out working out once a week.
Right.
And then
twice a week for a year, or I think 2 years.
And then
finally it was 5 days a week.
Then once you got the idea of like going up to 3, you're like, well then I could just really just do it every day.
Yeah.
And but you didn't try to do it all at once.
That's true. And I don't know that I mean, obviously I couldn't have, or maybe I wouldn't have, because I didn't.
Sure.
So that's a good point. And like recognizing, like, yeah, I want to deadlift 250 pounds, and starting out with, what was it you had me start off with, like 95 when I first ever did it, you know? Like, that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm not going to get to 250 pounds. You know, I'm at like 205 now, and that's just, you know, not even the working weight, but yeah, like recognizing I'm going to get there. Or so like the wellness center, it's not put together now. It's not, you know, but it's slowly getting there. Or like
you're figuring out your team, figuring out how you work best with them, how you communicate as a leader, and how those things happen, and then you just take on the next piece, and you know, keep your feet moving. You just don't like you don't give up. You just do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah. And I think that's really an important piece of like understanding ourselves and being patient with ourselves and going like, okay, what is it that I need to change internally? Like, what are the stories even that I'm telling myself that I need to change? You know, do I have this story that I can't do it? Or do I have the story that I'm a person who sleeps in? You know, like, and we learned that that's not the case, actually. It's just a choice.
We should make a list of that, all those things, like, I'm the kind of person that's something crappy, and then just cross it off. Be like, okay, not anymore. I'm bad with money. Nope, now I'm good with money. Like, I'm slow. No, I'm fast. Okay.
I can't budget. No, I can.
I don't like vegetables. I love vegetables. I'm vegan.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was a little extreme. I'm not going to take it to that level. But self-limiting beliefs is what those are called.
Yeah, and stories.
And it happens subconsciously, and then we defend it. We make it conscious. We are like, no, I am an alcoholic. You know, and someone tries to take it away from us, then we cling harder.
But then, on the other hand, though, like that positive feedback loop, then when we're starting to create those sort of stories, like, I am a strong person. I'm a person who gets up and goes to the gym. And the more I experience that, the more, it becomes a habit, the more it just is a knowing. I am a person who does my accounting. I am a person who brushes my teeth. You know, like, those sort of things. So I think just working on a thing, like, you know, the dojo that you created here, the environment and the culture wasn't always what it is now. I mean, it's really kind of exploded, I would say, in the last 6 months even.
Sure.
What the culture is. You know, so, and I think at this point, I couldn't imagine you going back. You know, like, that is who you are now. and it's who you've worked towards being, and now you're like, and there's more you want to do. There's more you want to be, and more you want to have for the dojo, and you know, like you can continue working towards it, and then it becomes you.
And that's you're so right. And I was so scared. I remember when I was, because I wanted to be a Training for Warriors affiliate before we made the switch. In fact, I held on to the license for a year. Like I paid for the license a year before we actually used it.
Wow.
Because I wanted to be a part of it, and I was scared to let go of form and function and of the past. And it honestly, it was only going through extreme pain that made me ready. And like we talked about. Going through a relationship ending and separating, my business from my partners, and I was like, oh, it's so time. It's a good time to start over, and it was that compass. There's a compass on the wall that we will not put on the video because Martin Rooney told me not to do that, but. There's a compass that the guide has guided me this far, and when I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is the right time now. This is exactly what. It's not random, and.
Well, and I think there is an important piece of like closing the door to what once was, which is something I'm struggling with right now. Is like, wanting to hold on to the past, wanting to hold on to past relationships, wanting to hold on to past things that weren't really, that obviously weren't getting to me, weren't like. They're not where I want to be, and doesn't make them bad, doesn't make them any less valuable. It's just like, and I have to let them go to move forward.
Yeah, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge to be worked through for sure.
Yeah.
So, businesswoman, athlete. Warrior, what's next besides conquering? The wellness centers, clearly that's part of your vision, and you're gonna bring it to life.
Yeah.
Is that what you think the next? I know you don't have a 5-year plan, and those don't exist.
Oh, I do.
Anymore. Okay, we get a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, the 5-year plan is to put together the wellness center in such a way that that it really runs off systems. So like. Everything I do now, I'm trying to think of it like, will this work for 10 times the amount of people I have right now? So basically like setting things up so that I'm not creating more work for myself. I'm putting in a lot of work now, and then I can take a little more hands-off approach, at least to some of the things that I don't want to do. And so yeah, the 5-year plan is to have a full running wellness center with like the building and the team, and
you have to have a system. You kind of glossed over, but like anything you want to have a consistent outcome in, you have to have a system for.
Yeah.
And that's almost everything in a business, right?
Right. And it's a headache when it's not there. Like today I'm going over invoicing with my team members and stuff, and it's like recognizing that what we're doing now isn't a functioning system. And it's a headache. So that's part of the pain, I think, to recognize like, okay, I'm not where I need to be, and that's why part of the 5-year goal is to have a system to make it run smoothly.
Yep.
And so I would say like that's part of like that's the business side of like where I want to be in 5 years. Where I want to be personally in 5 years, I put some thought into, but gosh, if I continued traveling a couple times a year and playing, like learning the seer wheel, if I can get really good at the seer wheel, and even do like one performance in a red dress. On the seer wheel, where I'm doing a great job. Like, that's a good 5-year goal for me.
That's very specific. I love it.
Or like, running a parkour course with ease without hurting myself.
Oh, totally.
That's a good 5-year goal.
Well, that's well within your range, for sure.
What about you?
What about me? Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of goals.
Goals.
5 years. Where could I be in 5 years? So, one of the things that I wanted to do was turn Trading for Warriors into $1 million fitness business, which is it's a big goal. It's a big goal. You have to have a good, deep value proposition. You have to have multiple services. So for us, we got into group training last year. So we do personal training, group training. Then I want to do some sort of a sports conditioning package where we would take people and work on like mobility and stability for athletes. It's sort of like an additional service that the coaches provide. There's nutrition. I want to scale nutrition counseling because we do it, and I do it right now, but I'm doing it very manually. It's not very systemized. We don't have a lot of technology that we apply to it, but we're working on that. So when nutrition becomes a full-fledged offering that we do, that will be another piece. And then we're going to have something, some sort of a broader thing. I'm thinking of maybe we'll get in products and sell like protein supplements or educational material or something that's like exactly in line with our values.
Yeah.
Be like, this is what is going to help you do all this stuff anyway. So here, have this, fish oil, or have this, or read these books, or something that's going to be like right in line with what I'm already telling people to do. So maybe we'll have a product end of it. But yeah, well, it'll be a package. So it's gonna be Training for Warriors Dojo. Just dialed down to the nth degree. You talked about systems. It's just like having everything have an extremely high quality output.
And you mentioned matching your values.
Yeah.
Which I think is crucial.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's got to bleed black and gold. It's got to be clear that like when you crack open, everything ties together, and then you have that synergy, but you have that intellectual consistency. That's like, oh, like he's recommending these authors and all these people are saying the same thing, and they're adding value. They're deepening my knowledge. We're getting that mastery piece. So there's a lot of
you put a lot of thought into it. It sounds like it's so wonderful.
It's all up here. It's all up here. Yeah. So it's and you can do a lot in 5 years. 5 years is a good amount of time to put into something, and
as long as you keep moving.
as long as you keep moving.
Yeah.
So we talked about your athleticism. We talked about your how you deal with injuries in your business, and I feel like I just want to give a sense to people who don't know you, who you are, and where you came from and where you're going, and the fact that Adinah has hit a lot of roadblocks and speed bumps, but she doesn't let them stall her for very long, and she figures it out. One of the things that Adinah does when a lot of people get frustrated with a problem, Adinah gets fascinated. She gets into it. She gets.
I hadn't considered that. You're right.
Yeah, but when you have that approach to life, you grow. You grow through crisis. You grow through issues. You grow through problems, and that, like you said, like we're just at the beginning. You want to be more. You want to do more. You will, because you have that mindset of growing through it. So I just want to give people a taste of that. And if you have anything to add, we can bring it to a closing note if you want. Because I think we've already got plenty of good ideas out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to recognize like I am where I am now because of everything I've experienced, and so like growing up in kind of a tough situation helped me have the drive that I have now to present to, or to like help change the world, I guess, and bring more of my values to the world. And just like light a fire under me, and so every difficulty I encountered or have encountered, I try really hard to look at it as a blessing, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just like, why? Yeah, why me?
That's pretty normal.
Yeah. But but I think the more that I see it as as a blessing and as something that helps fuel me to where I am now, and have patience, like just really have patience for myself and not expect myself to be perfect. You know, like that's that's good.
Patience.
Yeah, patience. And then I think the other biggest thing is like recognizing my value as a person and recognizing the value I bring to
The world.
my community, and you know, and the more I really sink that into my knowing, my heart of hearts, the easier everything else becomes. And that's kind of the hard part. The hard part is just like knowing on like every fiber of my being that I am valuable and that I want to create value.
I'm giving you high fives. I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, like, well, that you are valuable and you're discovering more. There's only it's an endless mine in there that you're going to continue to mine and bring forth these great gems back out into the world. But it's a process of just not being satisfied with where you're at. It sounds like spiritually, in the sense of just like owning that value, and it's tough. Like you said, reminding yourself, like, you know, I'm valuable and having, you know, I have an impact, and we want to have more of an impact, of course, but appreciate the impact that you do have.
Yeah, and keep going.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. Okay, well, there you go. Be patient. Never stop. And, you know, approach life with a little bit of curiosity, and you'll be surprised. Enjoy.
Yep. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll get this on the interwebs. Until then, this is Coach Josh helping you bring out the warrior within.